Hey guys, I'm April from Giggle Glitter Graphics, and I am here with part 6 of the totally free 8-part Frostbound Forest series. I'm sending this series out for free to my email list on Fridays, but if you'd like to sign up and get caught up, you can go to the link in the description down below and sign up to have all of the first 6 parts sent to you, and then you will get 7 and 8 whenever they're available. This is a limited time series. It is available until March 14th of 2025, and then after that, it will be for sale in my Etsy shop. As you may or may not know, each part of this series gives you a piece of a story as well as a crafting project to follow along with. And today for part 6, we're going to be making a pop-up card. Now I have all of the pieces already cut out here, and if you need a reminder, I am using 110-pound cardstock for everything. Nothing in part 6 is going to be on paper. There is one sheet that you're going to need to print the back side of with a textured paper that I did provide, and it is the sheet with these 2 pieces on it. We need these to be printed front and back so that they're finished on both sides. For supplies, you're going to need scissors to cut everything out, a bone folder to help do your creases, but you can use the back of your scissors or your thumbnail if you like. For adhesive, I am using Beacon Fabri-Tac, but any liquid glue with a point on it will work. And for distress inks, I am using Vintage Photo, and that's around anything that has a brownish tone. And then I have Weathered Wood and Ice Spruce. And I'm using these 2 colors. It's kind of a blue gray and a green gray. I'm using those where they feel appropriate throughout the project. I am also using just a little bit of pumice stone, but I don't like it quite as much as the Weathered Wood and Ice Spruce, but I used it on a few of the journal pieces or where I just want some gray. I'm also highly recommending you have a Velcro dot or another kind of fastener for this project, but it's not totally necessary, and there are other clever ways that you can secure this project. So let's go ahead and put everything that was marked journal pieces off to the side. That is these little tiles and any of the sheets that were labeled the file names and the sheet said journal pieces. So we're going to get those all out of the way. And I'm going to kind of organize my pop-up card pieces. There are a couple of these tags. These are going to come in later, as well as some of these embellishment pieces. We have a fox, a poem, and then these 2 little cards here. These are also going to go off to the side. And what we want to work with are these 2 pieces here. They look like this. The kind of funny cutouts that are going to make our pop-up. The 2 panels that have the print on the back side. This little fussy cut of the bushes, and then this funky little piece here. So this is what we're going to start with to assemble our pop-up card. So first things first, let's get the base of our card assembled. So we're going to grab this piece with the greenery on the top and the little tiles on it. And then we've got, you can see a matching tab that really, it just lines right up with the print on this back. So you're going to glue this right over top. And then you want to make sure that it closes nicely in the back. What I'm going to do is put glue right along this tab. I have pre-folded my tab, but if you've noticed, there is a light line across here and I have not folded it yet. I'm going to wait on that one until we get the whole card built. And I recommend you do the same, but if you already folded it, it is no big deal. So I'm just going to place that tab and line the print up as best I can. Then close it and make sure I'm aligned on the long sides and then this back side. You don't want it to overhang. This is the card part of our pop-up. So make sure everything is straight and lined up appropriately so that we can open and close this like so. Next, we're going to grab this funky little piece, and as you can see, I have made matching stripes on both the base panel and then this funky little wavy piece. And we're going to glue these together, but our glue is only going to go under these 2 bands. You don't want to glue under this. This is going to be a tuck to hold one of our cards. So you want to kind of find where those bands are and then just place some glue on the other side. Be as accurate as you can. If you need to, you can kind of hold it up to the light. I can kind of see through with some light on the other side. and get that lined up. And then we're just going to place it right on top of those bands. We're going to press this right up into that corner. Check our fold. That's always our motto, is check our fold. And make sure that that is opening and closing properly. Now that we've got this in place, and you can see that that is lifting freely right up into this line, we are going to grab these little pieces here, and you want to fold all of these right along these lines because we're going to turn this into a little box like so. This is going to be part of our pop-up mechanism. You're going to crease both of these the same way. So we're going to have two boxes like so. And then let's grab the one of them has kind of a bushes. It'll match those fussy cut bushes that are going to come in later. So put the bushes and that box to one side, and let's grab the box that is just kind of snow. So get that creased, have that at the ready. So let's grab our little archway. There are two tabs on it. Make sure that those tabs are folded in onto the back side. This is going to create a pocket for a tag to go in on the back side of this card. And then this piece here, this little fussy cut frame, you're going to fold in two places, once along this brown line, and then once more there should be a line right along here so that you create this kind of a shape, like so. We're going to take this brown tab and I'm going to insert it right into here, and this is going to glue in. So it's going to kind of hook over the top of it and then glue in right on top of this frame. So I'll just put some glue right across the top of this frame. This is probably the most complex part of this project. So hook that right over the top. Make sure everything is lined up nicely and then it's folding over. You want to make sure it folds all the way over. So we have something that looks like this. And then let's press these tabs down. And we're going to glue both of these tabs here, like so. And then we are gluing, you can kind of flip this top one up out of the way like this. It's a little awkward. And this is going to go all the way to the bottom and centered up left and right on this bottom piece here. Just a little off, and then always, as always, check your crease, fold this up, check to make sure everything is folding up nicely. So this is loose, like so. Edges of this are glued down. Don't worry about this. This will get glued in a minute. And then we have a little pocket back here. All right, so grab this piece here, the little snowy piece, and it has the 3 tan bands and then the white snowy band. We're going to fold that up, and let's leave the opening of that to the back. Aim it away from you. Flip this up, and we're going to glue this in right on top of that back stripe on this little kind of flippy piece here. We're going to glue both sides on either side of that split. So I'm going to put some glue all along here. And then also along here. My fingers might get a little messy. It's okay. And I'm going to place my little box here. And then stand my card up and glue it right to the front of this little kind of cave shape. You want to make sure everything is making a nice L shape. You see how I have a nice box here? And then give that, being careful not to mess this up, give it a little smush. This is part of our pop-up mechanism. So we want to give that a good smush and then open it up again. And then we're going to glue this right to the bottom. So I'm going to kind of flip this up. Let's put some glue right on the bottom. I'm going to bring it down. Again, make sure everything's kind of a 90-degree angle when you stick this down. So again, you've got kind of this nice 90-degree shape. Stands up really nicely. Make sure you don't have any glue sticking up above this little box here. If you do, wait to close this up, because you're going to glue pieces together that shouldn't be glued together. I don't feel any there. So I'm going to go ahead and check my fold, give everything a little smoosh. And we've got the first layer of our pop-up card done, kind of the first and second layer. Now we're going to add our third layer of the pop-up, and we're going to do the same thing. So we have this little bushes piece. It has the 3 tan lines. We folded it up. We made a box, and we're going to glue this on the same way. Take that split, face it away from you. Glue the back and the bottom, the darker bands, the back and the bottom. Try not to get it on your fingers too much. I'm a little messy today. And then I'm going to go ahead and insert that right on the next stripe. So it's going to go right there. And another 90-degree angle, like so. And everything should be lined up to the sides. Let's push that down, give it a smush. Open it back up, and let's grab the bushes, and we're just going to glue those right to the front of that, right on this tan piece. So I'm going to put my glue this time directly on the tan piece and place those bushes. Make sure they're centered up left to right. And I'm going to let everything dry really well before moving on. So let's grab some of our other pieces. I'm going to put this off to the side for just a moment. And we've got our 4 decorative panels. We're going to use those in a second. And here are our 2 pocket tags. All you need to do with these is fold them directly in half. Grab some glue. You can use a glue stick for this. It should work just fine. I'm just using what I have out. And glue these together to make a solid tag. So we have prints on both the front and the back. Just gonna smush my glue out here. I'm going to repeat that for this one here. Just folds right in half on the line, line up those tabs, and give it a little glue. And it's totally fine to use a glue stick if you prefer that for some of these simpler folds. I am just partial to my Fabri-Tac. All right, so there's our 2 tags, and each of those have an embellishment. So this one with the footprints on it gets this little forest scene with the other footprints right on the back. And you're just going to glue this on centered up as well as possible, like so, just for a little bit of dimension instead of having that printed directly on there. And then we're going to do the same thing for this tag. So on this one, the tab goes to the bottom. You can see the text, follow the tracks, and then light a fire. So flip it over this way with the tab at the top, and we're going to glue our fire right to the back. Center that up as best you can. And then I'm just going to set both of these off to the side and let them dry for a few. And now I'm going to grab my card. I'm also missing a piece. Oh, there it is. This little strip with the footprints on it. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and fold this over now. I just like to wait to do this fold to make sure that the fold is going to make sense. Because if you got something off just a little bit, it might not fold up as nicely. So go ahead and make that fold now and give it a good crease. You can put a little ink on it if you want, just to finish it off. And now you know where that panel is. And I'm going to grab my little footprints, and that's the embellishment right here for this flap. So things might be a little springy and hard to work with. Do your best. And make sure, because this is the front, like so, I'm going to make sure that my footprints are going the direction I want them to go, which is, for me, it's like that. And then you can decide for the front and the back what you prefer on the front. So I have this fox panel and then the poem. Either of these will work here with the fold over or on the back. So pick the one you like the best. And I think I'm going to go with the poem for here. Center that right up. And then I'm going to flip this over and center this fox panel up on the back. There we go. Now we can open this up. And we've got our 2 cards to insert. So I'm going to turn this with the shoe prints up, and this one is going to slip right underneath that tuck. And then the one with the campfire, we're going to turn this so we have the cave opening, and we're going to slide it right down in here. Now, if for some reason this does not fit, and mine's giving me a little trouble, I might have folded it a little too tightly. It wants to go, but it doesn't want to go. And I will adjust this slightly whenever I am working on this design, but I'm just going to trim a little right off the edges. So I'll just do a little, you see that little sliver coming off? Just a little sliver off each side. I try to size things with a little room, but sometimes our folds get a little crazy. And then I would put some more ink on that, and now that's going to slide right down in there. So we have the cave opening. And then you can light a fire, and this goes along with our story, so we have a little bit of a reveal. So the last thing we need to do is secure this, and this is what I'm going to use the Velcro closure for. And I am down to, it looks like my last one. So these come with a clear and a white side, and it's up to you which one you put where. I'm just going to stick them together. I think I'll put the clear here and the white here. So I'm going to just kind of stick that in the center towards the edge, but not all the way. And then just fold that over and press it down. And then that way, that has a nice closure that's going to stay shut. Now, if you don't have a closure like this, you can use some string. You can punch a hole here and put some string and then wrap the string around, or use a different closure of your choice. I'm just partial to the Velcro dots because they're fast, easy, and effective. All right, so now we are ready to work on our journal. And let's just kind of start at the top of my pile here. You have these little tiles here. They come like this. All you're going to do is glue them together so they're double-sided. So I'll do that really quickly. I did the other 3 just to save some time. So just like that, so you have 4 tiles with our symbols on them. And I'll just set those to the side. Next, let's go ahead and repeat that for this piece here. As you can see, I'm just going to fold that in half and line up these little tab pieces. You can always trim that up if things aren't lining up properly, or add a little ink to it later. Just put a quick squiggle of glue on here. So now we have a 2-sided card. I'm going to put that with my tiles. I know I've got these two larger pieces with the angle on them. I have not creased these yet. If you have creased them, not a big deal, it'll still work. And I've run some distress ink, some vintage photo distress ink, right along where this crease would go, just to kind of camouflage that so it's not so white. It's optional, you don't have to do it. And now I'm going to glue these together so that those angled pieces are lined up. So probably makes more sense for me to glue on here. And I'm just going to line up top, bottom, and the angle. And anything that doesn't line up and is sassy, just cut it off. I actually have a little bit of a sloppy cut here, so I'm going to clean that up with my scissors a bit. There we go. Let's leave that to dry just a little bit before we try to fold it and move to our journal. So we're just going to flip to the next blank page in our journal. I'm going to grab my little dragon friend and just hold this page down. We're going to work on this right hand side page first because this is going to be a little pull out that's going to go on this page. So let's go ahead and place these pieces down. So we have a couple here. We've got this analysis panel. So we're going to start with this. Just go ahead and glue that straight down to the page, centered. You don't need to leave anything unglued. Right like so. Next, I'm going to grab this piece with a little piece of journaling on it. And this is a pocket, but it's a pocket from the bottom because I was being sassy that day. So take it, flip it over, hold the bottom, and then just glue around the three edges, left, right, and top. A nice thin line of glue. And turn it over. I'm going to change my journal positioning here and just line it right up with the top of the previous panel, that analysis panel. Next, I'm going to grab this pocket that says findings. I'm going to fold all three tabs in, left and right, and then bottom. And I'm going to put some glue on those tabs. I'm going to glue left and right first. Flip up bottom so it can kind of stick in that overlap area. And this is going to line up at the bottom of this top pocket piece, if that makes sense. So we're going to find right here, it's going to line up right here at the bottom of that. You want to make sure you don't accidentally glue your pocket shut. You want to be able to put a tag right up in there. I'm going to move this to the side, and I see that I have a double-sided tag that escaped me. You might have figured that out already, and I'm just going to glue this back to back as well. There are a lot of little pieces on my table today for this journal entry. Give that a nice glue, make it double-sided. And let's return to this piece here. I'm going to go ahead and fold this. So first I'm going to start by folding over right like this. It's not going to go quite all the way. You want to fold right along this line here and give that a press. So it's not going to go quite all the way to that line. This is going to glue directly down to the page. Then we're going to take this panel and fold it over the other way, right on the line next to our little bunny rabbit. So as carefully and as neatly as you can. It might be a little tough because it is cardstock, but we like things to be a little tough and sturdy. So give that a press. And you might like to flip-flop that the other way to give it a press in the other direction. This is going to make it move better when you use it as a pull-out. So a couple little back and forths to loosen it up. like so. And then you're going to end up with something that goes like this. So let's go back to our journal, get our little dragon out of the way. And we're going to glue this part here directly down to the page. All around the edges, nice and tight. You can use your glue stick. This is just my preference. It dries really quickly whenever I'm showing you tutorials. A little bit faster than the glue stick does. All right. And now we have pull out like this. There are some embellishments that are going to go on here. So we're going to start with this tab, and our tab is just going to clamp on right here. Just a little detail. It is not super functional, but it is super cute, which sometimes is worth more than functional. At least in my heart on some days. So let's go ahead and clamp that right over. Make a little tab. Next, we're going to pull our pull-out out. And we have these little corner pieces. Think of them like photo corners. We're going to place those in either corner of this blank panel here. So what I want you to do is just grab these little corners, and we're going to do the 90-degree angle and just a little bit of glue right along those edges, just a tiny bit. Try not to get it too wide. That's where that fine point on your glue comes in handy. And then we're just gonna stick that right into the corner of the panel. It can go all the way to the bottom, almost all the way to the edge, and we're gonna repeat that for the second one. So I'm gonna grab that little angled part and do the nice 90-degree corner. A little bit of glue, and place that all the way up, not very neatly, all the way up here in the corner. Last, for embellishments, I've got these two labels, and they're just going to go on the top and bottom. So a needed refuge at the top, just for a little dimension. I like gluing these embellishments on instead of having them just printed. I feel like it gives it more of a tactile experience. Lots of little edges to run your fingers over. And with an unexpected secret right there at the bottom. And that right there is the whole construction of the pull-out. Now, this might not want to stay down. You can kind of fold it back and forth some more to loosen it up, but as it sits here in your journal, it should kind of conform. So you can play with it, you can mess with it and get it, but when it sits there with the journal shut, it will eventually behave itself, hopefully. So now we just have to put our couple of goodies in here. So we have our 4 tiles, and those are going to go into our findings pocket. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have our tag here with the paw print on it. I'm going to slide that right up in here, right like that. End to stick out there. So you won't see that label until you pull the tag out. And then here with our photo corners, make sure they're good and dry before you try to tuck this in. But we're going to kind of wedge this right in like so. Those photo corners are going to hold it in. And then again, if you need to, you can kind of go back and forth on these creases with your thumbnail just to break them in a little better. And you can see mine is starting to behave itself a little more already, and after it sits there for a while, it should be just fine. Now our journal is getting a little bit thick, and we have a couple entries left, and so that is something, this is a brand new project that I've been working on, so it's going to be a little fat. We are going to add some kind of closure to this at the end, so that will help keep everything nice and neat and contained. But I think that a nice thick fat journal is the sign of an excellent adventure. So that's it for part 6 of the Frostbound Forest. I hope you're enjoying it. be sure to like, subscribe, comment, all of those good things, and I will see you next week for part 7.